Night City's never bred heroes. It eats them, chews them through flesh, chrome, and ideals, then spits out whatever's left and calls it progress. V? No different. Just another soul the city's trying to melt down, data dump, or weaponize. Where you start? The street, the desert, the boardroom? It don't matter. The only difference is how fast you learn to flatline hope. This ain't about who the strongest V is. That's a murk fantasy made for brain-dance junkies. What matters is this. Which version of V loses the most of their soul to Night City? Which V plays the game like they were born to break it? There's this old book, The Generation of Sociopaths, says a whole generation sold out tomorrow for a bigger slice of today. They dreamed of corporal freedom, then became the corporos that flatline the future. Sound familiar? Night City's just the end result, a shrine to short-term gain, lit by the names of the dead and the drinks we raise to them in the afterlife. So if you've still got fire in your gut, then grab your iron, choom. Let's mobilize and have this conversation.
You just discovered what it takes to become a legend. Grab your iron. Let's mobilize.
Bruce Gibney wrote this book, The Generation of Sociopaths, How the Baby Boomers Betrayed America. He said that the boomers torched the future for a better seat at the table. It was a prime argument that was simple and devastating. I read it once. Didn't need convincing. Baby boomers of the United States reshaped the world in their own image and became their own corporo soulless suits. It'd make a grand portrait at an Arasaka corporate office wall. They prioritized self-interest, deregulation, and consumption, while hollowing out the very institutions they inherited. They weren't cartoon villains, just pragmatists with no brakes. In their eyes, empathy was inefficient, and was only useful when it cashed out their eddies. To them, solidarity was naive, and was only a tool for exploitation. What mattered was progress, but only if it kept them on the top of the food chain. Gibney calls it generational sociopathy, a cultural shift where power meant extraction and never stewardship. Exploit, expand, and discard was their corporo company values, no matter the business fronts they owned or controlled. In Night City, I call it Tuesday. It's what you get when enough people follow that script. Now, here comes V, dropped in the middle of it. It's a merc's game where the world is built by those values. Doesn't matter where they started, Nomad, Street Kid, Corporo, the city doesn't care. So here are the real questions. Which V's just trying to survive? Which one still thinks they can change it? Who's already too far gone to care? The game's already rigged. We've seen all three chilling in the afterlife. Street Kid V. Survival through charisma and crime. Street Kid V was born from systematic collapse and a busted cyberdeck. This version of V was raised on the outskirts of legitimacy. They learned that loyalty is currency, and pain is just part of the price in order to build street cred for the next gig op. Every favor, every bruise, every name you remember, it's all street cred and nothing more. There are no safety nets and no second chances, just hustle and heat. This V doesn't trust institutions. Why would they? The system failed them long before V could ever jack in. Street Kid is the most emotionally grounded V. They know people. They need people. However, Survival in Night City means playing dirty at the cost of empathy. They grew up in the noise and learned to read the room before the blade or iron came out. Surviving Night City means cutting empathy down to the bone. This V can lie with charm, manipulate with ease, and zero choom without flinching. Not driven by ambition, just the grind, just the hustle to stay breathing. Another day in a city that's always watching the clock. Street Kid V isn't trying to conquer the system. They're reactive, a product of a nightmare they didn't choose. Violence, normalized. Manipulation, expected. Short-term thinking, mandatory. Sociopathy verdict, not a monster by design, but a symptom. This V was bred by the failures of a broken world, and now they survive by reflecting on it. Corpor V, architect of the rot. Corpor V, different beast entirely. They didn't inherit the streets, they inherited the boardroom. Suits instead of scars, executive privilege over street credit. Don't let the polish fool you. This is the most surgical version of V. Every move is calculated, every smile a mask, performance, status, power. That's the gospel they live by. They didn't climb the ladder, they crushed it under the weight of betrayal, blackmail, and backroom deals. Covered up ops through allies under the mag lift, and called it Tuesday. When the company turns on them, it's not the betrayal that stings, it's the audacity of being on the receiving end. This V is Bruce Gibney's Boomer in Chrome, an avatar of generational rot. No loyalty to the collective, no remorse for collateral, only the pursuit of leverage. Even after the fall, they don't change, they just adapt. Different gear, but same game. They smile while gutting you, shake your hand as they light the fuse. Sociopathic traits? Off the charts. Manipulative, ambitious, ethically hollow, emotionally vacuum sealed. This V isn't trying to survive. They authored the damn playbook. The deets on the verdict? Corpor V is the embodiment of generational sociopathy. Not a glitch in the system because they are the system. Nomad V, escape and the illusion of freedom. Nomad V, they weren't raised in a muck of Night City, they come from the Badlands. Out where freedom's still worth something, or loyalty means blood and not contracts. They don't trust the corpse, the badges, or the bright lights promising power. Why would they? They've seen what happens when systems rot, so they stayed the hell away. Out of all the life paths, Nomad V starts out the most idealistic. They believe in something bigger than creds, family, code, a life lived clean. However, make no mistake, they're still a merc. Night City won't let idealism live without taking something in return. This V learns to kill for money. They betray when backed into a corner. They will get their hands dirty. Underneath it all, there's still something the others lost long ago. Empathy. A soul that hasn't been fully torched. At least, not yet. Their flaw isn't cruelty, it's detachment. When the world burns, they don't reform it, they just leave. opt out. Say, not my problem. For the sociopathic traits, limited, they're more likely to isolate than exploit. In a cyberpunk world that demands engagement, sometimes walking away becomes its own failure. Final verdict, detached, but not destructive. Nomad V is the least sociopathic, but in Night City, even that only gets you so far. Final verdict, the sociopathy spectrum. Alright, so here's how it shakes out. From most to least sociopathic. Corpor V takes the top of the stack uncontested. They're ambitious and remorseless. Corpor V is engineered for dominance. They don't just play the game, they profit from the blood on the board. Street Kid V is lukewarm in the middle. They're a mirror of Night City's rot. They never built a system, but they've learned to thrive in its gutters. Nomad V is the least sociopathic, going to the bottom deck of the stack. They still have some soul left. When faced with moral indifference, they walk away, nomadically as their own cliche. Here's the kicker. None of them escape sociopathy. Not because they're evil. Hell, most don't even start cruel. It's the city. Night City makes empathy a liability. Care too much? You get burned. You get used, you get buried. Power here demands one of two things: cruelty or detachment. You play the game or you lose. That's the legacy left by a sociopathic generation. Not one V chooses, one they're forced to inherit it.
I could sit here with you all night.
I think I'd like that.
Final toast, the afterlife.
Gonna mix you a house drink? You just name it.
Ain't a high time to have a V on the menu. Let's drink to me. Can use it today.
Gotta die to have a drink named after you at the afterlife. You know the rules.
Agreed, and I do know the rules. But I did die, Rogue.
You did. A living legend of the afterlife. How about that? Drink. It'll do you good.
Maybe we're asking the wrong questions all along. Was never about which V was the most sociopathic. Nah. The real kicker was which version of V still gave a damn. Because in this city, eddies come and go. Chrome rusts. Street cred fades. But empathy, that's the one thing you can't slot or clone. And once it's gone for good. So here's to V. Doesn't matter where they started, desert dust, city gutters, or corporate glass towers, they all got chewed up the same. They bled for it, lied for it. Some walked away from it all. Others didn't get a chance. The scariest part? How easy it was for them to let go of what made them human. But in the end, V didn't vanish. They just changed loadouts. Upgraded into a phantom of the afterlife. One last merc with the guts to find their own kind of liberty. 2V. You played the game, and you left to mark.
I did it, Johnny. Despite it all, somehow, I did it.
Devised a solid plan and pulled it off. That's you. Well done.
Hey, V. Listen, I was just thinking about you, so I laid out a quick tarot. I know the reading's not as strong without you here, but we haven't seen each other for so long, and well, one thing led to another. Know what I drew? Strength, the Emperor, and the world. Babe, the world's gonna hear about you. Go and show Night City what you're made of.
Goodbye, V. And never stop fighting.